good morning, a good day, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time zone where you are. And for those on the YouTube channel, I want to say thank you so much to you. And in case you've not subscribed on the Burudika Carol K channel, please do click the subscribe so that you don't miss out on any videos that I upload. And today I'd like to address the issue of inflation. Now, this is something that is facing us worldwide, every part of the world, and for most of the people, we are facing this in one way or the other. We had the pandemic, and we hoped that after the pandemic, things were going to get better or even go back to the way they were before. Unfortunately, it has not happened. We've not gone back to that situation. Instead, things have gotten even more harder. Things are more expensive every day. We have to spend so much for everything. You realize that there are some basic products that when their prices go up, it affects the prices of everything. We have things like fuel. When fuel goes up, it does not only affect transport, it affects every other product. Remember, some of these products go through processing. They need the transportation to the outlets or the shops where we get them. And therefore, eventually, the prices also go up. Some of them are agricultural products. So in the process of them being in the farms and being processed in one way or the other, there is machinery that is required, and all these things use fuel. At the end of the day, the prices reflect on the products, and eventually the products become higher. We've had the basics that we need day to day going high. There are cases where we even missed them. We had things like baking flour. We had for a while situations where they were difficult to get and their prices going up. We had cooking oil. The prices are going up day by day, and we really need these things. We cannot do without them. We must buy them in one way or the other. And therefore, there is the need to see what can we do? How do we go about the situation at the moment? Our salaries are not going up. And if they do, by a very little margin, and remember, even when they do by that little margin, there are taxes that we have to pay. So the taxes also still take away some of the money. Eventually, even the increase that you get in your salary does not all belong to you. You still have to pay some of it to the government in form of taxes. So we still have to live. Life must go on. We have to adjust. So what do we do in such cases? In my opinion, the first thing that we should do is to manage our expenses. How do we manage our expenses? There are people who decide that when I'm going shopping, I will list the main things that I need and go shopping according to my list. But should there be any case, because sometimes you get in the supermarket and you realize you forgot something on your list, or there is something that you could need that is there and you didn't think of, or there is an offer on something that you may need ahead, maybe in the next days, in the next weeks, and it is there at the moment on a special price. So remember, these are things that could happen, but it is important to guide your shopping. Have your list, put down the main things that you really need that are important for you and your family, and make sure when you're going shopping, these are the priority, the main things that you start with, and anything else that comes beyond, give yourself that space, and also decide that I give myself up to this other amount to buy the things that I had not planned for. Otherwise, if you just set yourself free, remember, you will buy and buy and buy. You get into the shop, you find this, somebody's buying this, you're tempted, you find this, you find it attractive, and you end up buying. So even for the groceries, I think we start from there. That is the most important thing that we need to do. Regulate your shopping. And secondly, your personal items. We have the habit of buying, particularly women. We have clothes, we have shoes. When we walk into the shops, there is a special offer on some kind of clothes. But when you think back, your closet is full. Your suitcases are full of clothes. You have shoes that you've never worn even for months. Some of them you bought them, they're still in the boxes, even with the receipts. So you realize that you have so much. By the time you want to go somewhere, you're preparing to go out, you're still thinking, what am I going to wear? Because you don't even know. That's when you bump into some things that you've not even worn before. So you realize that if you have something that you bought, you've not worn it for a long time, you really didn't need it. And why did you even have to buy it? So these are the kind of habits that we have to control. Let us control and buy what we need. Let us make sure that we take the necessities, even if they're clothes, even if they're shoes. Impulse buying, we should reduce on the impulse buying. the special offers, those are marketing tricks by people who are selling, because somehow they have to sell. And when they have met their targets, they reduce the prices so that you're attracted to them. So when you went to the shop the other day and you found something was costing even maybe some amount more than it is at the moment you've gone into the shop, you're tempted to buy. And sometimes you buy even one or two of the same item, because it's, the mind has a way also of playing with you. It's like, yeah, since it's beautiful or since it's cheaper, I can have two, so that when this one gets old, I still have another one. So those are impulse buyings that we don't need. One is just enough if you must buy, but let us choose what are our priorities. What exactly do we need for the clothes and the shoes? There are people who have just a few clothes. When they want to go out, they don't have to think too long. They go into the closet and they know, last week I wore this, the other day I went to this event and I wore this, and therefore I have this other one that I've not worn for a while, and they choose on that. But when you have too many, you're confused. One, they're occupying too much space. Two, you can't make up your mind. And sometimes you end up choosing even the worst one out of them all. And then three, some of them even deteriorate with time. When you look at shoes that you've not worn for a while, and particularly when they are not from real leather, for example, they wear out, they peel off, they look weird, they look tired, they look dull. And at the end of the day, you end up not even being able to wear them anymore. You lose the interest, and maybe that impulse that got you at that time when you saw it and bought it has also gone. So the interest is also not there. You're no longer interested in it. And at the end of the day, it's there. You are also thinking about your money that you spent in buying it. So you've lost money, and also you don't have any more interest in the shoe. You could have used that money for something else. But when you buy them and you keep them and you think there's going to be a rainy day, sometimes time goes and you don't get those occasions. Those who are living in the diaspora, the kind of lifestyle is quite different. Maybe you're doing a kind of job that you have a uniform when you're going to work, and therefore you don't have time to wear these extra clothes. You only need them to wear during your occasion, during your free time, and you realize that those occasions might not be also as many as you may think. The seasons change. Before you realize, it is no longer summer. The many things that you bought during the special offer when summer was closing down, you no longer need them because you've entered into winter. By the next season, new things are coming into fashion. They are no longer as good as they were looking before, and you can no longer wear them. The interest is no longer there. So you realize that the money that you put into these items are just money that has gone. Maybe you'll wear them just one time and you're looking for how to get rid of them. So at the end of the day, these special offers, these are offers that are for marketers, and they use them to get rid of also what they think are out of, their fashion is running out, their time is running out, and therefore they are no longer selling as they were during the time they were on the peak season. So when you buy them, get to know and think about it that at some point you may not need it. You might buy it probably to take it to your people back home, particularly summer items. And if you also stay with them for too long, they also lose their glow, they lose their shine. The shoes get dull. Plastic shoes, they wear out, they tear out. So control your buying. When you want to travel, maybe you're living in the diaspora, you have a closing sale, and you have things that you think you need to carry in your next traveling home. It is fine. Pick up what you really need, and then just what you need is more than enough, I think. Is more than enough, because we can never buy everything. Every day you go, tomorrow you go back to the shop and you find they're even cheaper than they were the day before when you were in the shop. So think about it. Regulate your shopping. Buy what you need. The clothes, the shoes, the food stuff. You keep them for too long, they expire. They get, their dates go out of, they go out of date. So you find that all these things, you've bought them, you have them, you've packed them into your kitchen because they are on offer and you're trying to save some money, but at the end of the day, after some time, they've expired. And then what do? You have to throw them away. So those are ways in which we can beat the inflation. Regulate your buying. Do controlled buying. Budget. Sit down. Think. Ask yourself, how much money do I have? How much can I spend? Because remember, the situation are not situations that you are in control of. Particularly when your money is not much. There are people who are lucky, they have so much money they can spend. There are people who are spending family money. But if you are spending your own money that you're working with, or the amount of money that you have, it's important that you budget with it, sit down with it, write down what you think you need, calculate how much you can spend, and don't forget to keep also some for a rainy day. You need to save something as well. You cannot spend all the money that you have. So remember, controlled buying is the most important thing. That is where you really have to do the biggest job. Discipline is important, and this calls for a lot of discipline from you for you to be able to manage this kind of controlled buying. And the other thing I would like to say is supplement. There are cases where you have the opportunity to grow some of these things at home. You have a small garden, you can grow the little foodstuffs that you need. There are some little vegetables that you can grow. You have your small spices and things that you add to your food. You have your chili that you can grow, and also you have things like parsley that you can grow in your kitchen garden or in flower pots. You can also grow them in your pots. There are flower pots, the bigger ones or even the smaller ones, depending on what you want to grow. There are people who are doing farming even on some kind of a mat. They put soil on it and they grow the little items that they need. And the third thing that I would like to say also is try to make a variety also in what you are using, particularly in the food stuff. You can try to supplement your food stuff with other kinds. There are people who love meat so much, or they love fish so much as their source of protein, but you can also use other items. You have other sources of protein. For example, you have beans, you have peas, you have all these other items that can be able to supplement your diet, so that meat is more expensive in comparison to some of these other items like meat, for example, and fish. Chicken in certain areas is just something that probably people eat during occasions, maybe during celebrations, Christmas, for example, Eid, for example, Diwali, for example. So you could supplement this with other forms of protein and vegetables. They are healthy. They're not only healthy, but they could be cheaper to buy as compared to buying the meat and all these other products. And then the other final thing that I would like to say also about beating the inflation is sometimes you find yourself living in a house that is way beyond your pocket at the moment. Initially, probably you had a job, you've lost your job, and therefore you can no longer afford the house where you're living. Don't allow yourself to accumulate debt because you want to keep the status. Allow yourself to calm down. Allow yourself to accept the reality. And the first thing you should do in that case is to find yourself a house that is a little cheaper, probably, than where you were living before, so that you can be able to live within your means. Don't allow yourself to accumulate unnecessary debts. Remember, the money that you pay for rent, you've paid and you've paid. It's not money that is generating any other money. It is money that you have spent. So if it is in a situation where you really need to, then please do. If you have your own small house, maybe sometimes you could consider that I would live in my own house and save that money that I'm paying for rent. It would save you. Unless the house that you have is earning more money, then probably you can rent it out and stay in a smaller house so that you have some extra money out of your money, out of the money that you get from the house to spend, and you pay your rent as well. But many people think they're more comfortable. When I have my small house, I would be able to manage with it and I save on the expenses. And even our children, sometimes we are forced with the situation right now. You can't be finding yourself in a situation here. I know most parents, the majority, they want the best for their children. They want them in the best schools. They want them in the best environment. But when situation calls for, like this moment where we are in a situation where it's out of our hands. We don't have control over it. The governments are trying maybe to supplement us in one way or the other, but sometimes you really cannot do anything about it. But remember, life must go on. We might be forced to change the schools where our children go. We might be forced to change some of the things that they have. If they are eating in school, maybe prepare meals for them to carry along. I know you might feel, oh, my children will feel, left out from what the other children are doing, but check in what they are eating at school. You could be in a position to maybe prepare more or less most of the things that they're eating in school. So maybe it's something that they could carry. It's more healthier. You're more sure of what they are eating, and that is a really important thing. And the other thing I'd like to tell you finally, please keep some money. Even as little as possible, please keep some money, so that in case you have an emergency, you have something that could save you. Do not allow yourself in a situation where you do not have totally anything that you've kept aside. I know people are going through situations where sometimes they don't have so much, and what they have got is the only thing that they can spend. But please, if you can, if it is possible, try your best, even as little as you can, put it aside so that you can be able to use it in a rainy day, as they call it. Otherwise, I want to say thank you so much for joining me, and keep it here. Please subscribe in case you haven't, and let us meet in the next video. Thank you so much, and I love you all. Bye bye.